So what you're going to want to do to remove the door panel is take a flat blade screwdriver and pop this out, just like that. Take a flat blade or a trim removal tool. I've got both, but this one will work just fine. Pop that guy out. There's going to be a 7mm bolt right here, a 7mm bolt right here, and then one on the very bottom. You're going to want to take all three of those out. All right, now that you got those 3 7mm out, you're just going to pop this guy off. Boom. Toss out the side. Take the foam out, which is going to expose your 3 10mm screws that hold your factory mirror on. And now you're ready to remove your door panel. These are super easy. All you do is just grab right here, use your other hand, grab up here. Filming, I've only got 2 hands, so I can't really show you, but you just pull up on it, and once it'll come loose, and then you'll have your connectors for your windows and all your electronics right here. So we'll get to that in a second. All right, so just like that, the door panel's off. So what I've done is I just kept the bottom ones in and just kind of let the door panel rest like that so I could work with these wires here. Now here are the wires you're gonna wanna unplug. You've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 5. Push that and just pull the top part out. Same for this one. So this would be facing the front of the truck. This one's on the side. I'm touching it with my thumb right here. All right, see that one came out. This one is gonna be, it's got like a cam lock side. We'll get that in a second. This one, the clip is on the front. The blue clip is right in the front. And then the same for the rearmost plug. And don't forget your door light, your courtesy light down here. There it is. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna pull that light, the entire thing, completely out. Super easy to pull out. That's it. All right, so here's that cam lock I was talking about. I've obviously got the door panel removed. I was able to do it just with one hand. So this thing kind of sits in the door like this. It's one of these ways. But all you got to do is push this tab right here. You push that tab down, and this will be held into the door, so it won't be all moving around. It'll be easier. It's actually not that bad. You're gonna have to get at it from underneath, but you push that tab down, and that releases this cam lock, and that comes right off. And now we are ready to go here. All right, so these are the wires coming from your mirror. Right here. You're gonna want to pull back your moisture barrier a little bit. They're taped up to these wire guides right here. I just cut those. I just cut the tape. I leave the guides because I'll reuse those. You fish your wire through, and then you got 3 10mm bolts, and then you've got this little retaining clip here. So cut that electrical tape off, fish your wire through, 3 10mm bolts, and you're ready to pull your mirror off. All right, when you unbox these Most Plus tow mirrors from Amazon, they both come in a cardboard box, obviously. I've already taken them out of that, obviously. And then they're each individually wrapped in these styrofoam boxes, and they're labeled left and right. So here's the left one for the driver's side. They'll come with new nuts for the mirrors. I actually use the stock ones. I like them a little bit better. It's got a bigger washer on it. So I use those, but you're gonna get this thing out of here and it's gonna come with 3 plugs. These 2 plugs are gonna plug right back in to the factory setup. So here's a stock mirror. Stock mirror's got 2 plugs on it coming off of it. Black one and a blue one. These are gonna plug into the same spots. Same type of plug, everything, super easy. And then your 3rd plug is gonna come with an extension on it. So you're actually gonna wanna undo this and set that to the side. You're gonna need that here in a little bit. In the package, you're also gonna get this wiring diagram. This is gonna be helpful. I will just hold my camera on that. You can go ahead and take a screenshot or pause the video, whatever you need to do. If you bought the same mirrors, you will have this. You may not need this, but it is helpful. All right, so I got the mirror on. It's really easy to do this if you have your window down, and if you're doing it by yourself, then you can hold the mirror with one hand and using your other hand, fish the wire through the hole in the door. While you're holding it with this hand, you'll take this hand and you'll start threading your nuts onto the studs. There's 3 of them. And like I said, I use the factory nuts. It's got a bigger washer. You could use whatever you want. But once you do that, fish your wire through, and you just want to make sure this isn't super tight. You want to leave not a lot of slack, but you just don't want it to be pulling super tight on the metal there and potentially rub a hole through the wires. And another thing I've done is I've utilized these factory wire guides. These come taped, but getting electrical tape around them is kind of a pain. And so I've got these really small wire ties, and these are sweet because I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but they've actually got a metal clip. It's not going to focus. But there's a metal clip in the end here, so they're super strong, they're small, great for areas where you don't need a huge, the head of the tie down poking out or protruding through something. So these are really good. And another cool trick is, if you guys don't already have a set, is some flush cuts. These things are awesome. So you go right here, cut your excess off, and boom, you got a flush cut. Really nice tool to have. Super cheap. You can get them at Lowe's, Home Depot, Amazon. All right, the next thing you want to do is this boot that goes from the door to the cab. You're gonna want to take this off, and there's clips on the top. So you just get in here, like right on the very top of it. Just gonna get in here with the flathead and pop that off. See how that clip was right at the very top? So you're gonna want to get right on the top of it. And you're gonna do the same. Oh, sorry. You do the same down here. Kind of messed up filming on that, but there's your clip. It's right up top. Just get in there with a screwdriver and pry that out. Now what you're going to want to do is get a old metal coat hanger, cut it up. You don't need much. Pretty much I just cut the entire bottom out of the coat hanger, and this is plenty. And so what you're going to do is you're going to want to fish the coat hanger through the top of this boot into the bottom, because this extension that I was talking about earlier, we're now going to plug into here. Going to run it behind the moisture barrier, down through here, through the inside of the door, through the boot and into the cab. Now, when you're fishing your wire down through your boot, you know, you're gonna have to use two hands, so I won't be able to film this, but you're gonna need to, you know, hold the boot like that, put the piece of wire in, move the boot, just try and make it as straight as possible so you can essentially get the wire in without poking a hole through this boot. You don't want to do that. So just take your time and you'll get it. All right, I got my coat hanger through the boot here. I went ahead and electrical taped these 3 wires to the end of it. So now I'm just gonna pull this back through. Boom. Got all the wires I need. All right, guys, now what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna take your trim removal tool, or actually you can just usually get up the front of it with your hand and just pop just up until these 2 clips. That's all you need, because you need to get this piece off. So this actually sits underneath there like that. There's 1 clip there, and there's a clip on the bottom that goes into that hole, and I kind of bent it, but not a big deal, because we'll just take a pair of pliers here and bend it back. All right, so now we got our wires pulled into the cab, and then on the door side, you're just gonna want to remove your weather seal here, your water seal, and just run the wires behind this. You don't need them super tight. Up out the top, and then plug this extension in that you've been working on back into the harness that comes off the light. All right, guys, now we're gonna work on getting the door panel back on. Got these wires fished through. Just gonna wanna plug that guy back in, just push it in. It's got a light little snap to it. Boom. Top and bottom are both in. With these particular lights, for this particular model of truck, once you put the door panel back in and plug in these 2 connectors, you will have a power mirror, a heated mirror, and you'll have your turn signal on both the glass and the front of the light. And these particular mirrors are switchbacks. All right, guys, here's where you're gonna have to do some wiring. Now in the video, these are flashing, but in real life, they're not. So everything's working as it should. They're wired in to my running lights. So whenever your running lights are on, or this is how I wired it, whenever you have your running lights on, your running lights on your mirrors will be on. And again, I know it's flashing in the video. It's not flashing in real life, and it's actually more of an orange than a yellow color. So they look totally sweet, just the way they should. And I'll just show you what they look like. With the blinkers on, with the running lights, right? So there's your sequential turn signals going. And I'll show you how I wired them in. All right, guys, got these wired up. I just wired them up to my cargo light switch here. So whenever I push that, that's on. And so is that. What you want to do with that is, on this connector that comes off the mirror, the one that you plug the big extension into, you're going to take this white wire and gray wire. And the gray wire, you're going to splice into the back of this button. You're going to splice into the blue and white wire. It's going to be your cargo lamp. And then the white wires, I just found a powered ignition source right here. got a out of circuit tap, and both the white wires are connected to this. All right, guys, now you need to take disassemble your mirror a little bit. To get the glass off, the upper glass, you're just gonna wanna put your hand under there and put your thumb on the housing and pry up. Use both hands. You're gonna have to like cross your hands and have your thumbs on either side of the housing. And that's how you're gonna get that up. And then once that's off, unplug your defrost wires and your blinker wire. All right, next you're gonna wanna take your bottom glass off, and pretty much the same thing. You're gonna get in here underneath it, and you're gonna try and get as close to this round piece here as you can, and then just kind of pry up and away. And then you're gonna take these 4 bolts out of either corner, and then this whole plastic housing comes off, and then we're about there. All right, guys, once you got the mirrors off and the housing off, you're gonna unplug this from your cargo light. You're gonna take this gray wire, and then over here, you're gonna find this black and white wire that plugs into the front light. You're gonna grab the black and white wire, and you wanna connect these 2 wires however you choose. But this is a chassis ground, and this black and white one is an intermittent ground. But if you jump these together, and then on the other end of your harness, this blue wire, which I've got pulled through the cab, but that blue wire you're gonna want to connect to power. And I'll show you that here in a second. All right, guys, what I've done here is I've got my piece of metal clothes hanger through the rubber boot and the firewall. And I've just taped my wire to the end of the coat hanger that's underneath the hood. Instead of doing it from inside, there's more room up here to tape it, so we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, once you got that wire pulled through your boot, you're just gonna splice it in with the blue wires coming off of either one of your mirrors. So this is coming from the passenger side, this blue one's coming from the right side. Splice it in to that single wire you pulled through the rubber boot. Come over here, come through the rubber boot, and you're gonna use an out of circuit. All right, guys, so by using this circuit right here, it should be a 15 amp trailer parking lights. Whenever these lights are on, these lights will be on as running lights. So, all right, I've just shut my lights off. And then parking lights. That's how it looks with the blinker. And when you turn the blinker off, it pauses and then comes back on. Pretty smooth. And that's how you wire them up. All right, guys, what I ended up doing was this out of circuit. I didn't want it getting caught, in the wire getting chafed when I put that cover on the way I just had it. So I just found this little hole, and you can see it. You just run your wire through there. I had a little bit of wire loom. I ran out, so I'll have to add a little more. But just wire loom it up. You can zip tie it. It'll look really factory, no pinching. All right, guys, so finally all wrapped up. What I originally did was I had my cargo lights wired into my cargo light, my third brake light on the truck, and it worked good. But then I had to hook up the running lights, and when we jumped that ground, those 2 grounds together, it didn't like this light would stay on. So essentially these would be on all the time, and you couldn't turn them off. So what I ended up doing was just wiring the side lights on the mirrors to the reverse lights. So take your knee panel off here, and you're gonna go all the way to the right and find this green wire. You're gonna tap into that, and then you're gonna tap that into both white wires coming off of both your mirrors. And then both gray wires, you're just gonna ground them. I just grounded mine right here. And then that way, Let me put your truck in reverse. Lights will come on. I'd like to have them switched, but just for the sake of getting all the lights working, I'll run that setup. And maybe down the road, figure out how to get it wired into that switch correctly. All right, guys, once you got these all on the truck, to level them, you have this cap on here. And it's gonna be tight, but you're gonna wanna get, I use a really small flat blade, and the sharper of a point it's got, the better. Because this is really tight when it's closed. You pop this off, then you're gonna undo these two top screws, they're 10 mil all the way out, and then just loosen the bottom ones about halfway so you can kind of move this around, because what you're gonna wanna do is put two washers behind this black bracket. So with those two washers, this one's tight and done, but it'll level your mirror up versus having it all bat winged up like that. Yep, there you go. Like, subscribe, all that. All right, and there you have it. Job complete.
Yeah.
Right? And on camera, these look more yellow than orange, but in real life, those are definitely way more of that type of orange. And yeah, that flashing that's going on, that's just the camera. You got no flashing in real life. Kind of like that. And then toss our hazards on here. Boom. And then we'll take reverse. All right, that's everything. If you guys got any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll get back to you.